Hey everybody, how you guys doing today? Let's go. Gonna announce real quick on Twitter we're going live. Give me a second here. Man, we're gonna get into some just stupid stuff here, man. This stuff is crazy. I was on Tony DeNaro last night. I was gonna go over a lot of this stuff, but I didn't have enough time to get into it. They wanted to cover a whole bunch of other things, but we're gonna have fun here in a second. Give me 2 seconds to announce we're going live. How's everyone's week going? AMC credit cards, let's go. I see a lot of people signing up for that. AMC, that's what I was saying right away. That's going to be a massive, massive revenue stream for AMC. Right now, there's over $1 trillion in credit card debt, and AMC is about to get into some of that pie there. So, like I said, great move there. Let me shut the door here. Give me 2 seconds. We will definitely get into AMC here. But first thing I want to start talking about real quick is I want to get into the economy and some politician stuff and just where this economy is going and how this isn't sustainable at all. There's no way we can keep going down this path. There's a lot of things that are about to pop, and I want to just show everybody what to be aware of here. So first thing I want to show you guys is there are 728 billionaires, and this was in 2020. Now, they have a wealth combined of 4.48 trillion, which is up from 1.5 trillion. Now, I want you guys to see this here real quick. This is in January of 2023. The richest 1% grabbed nearly 2/3 of all new wealth, which was worth 42 trillion, which has been created since 2020. So as you guys can imagine at this point, which is almost twice as much as the bottom 99% of the world's population. That is insane. Now, at this point, you guys can imagine this is a lot higher. It's probably about 5.9 trillion. Now, if you go over here, 728 billionaires now hold more wealth than half of American households. This is getting to the point where they just are going to have to accept that there's no way this can keep going. This is why I'm saying they have to have a MOAS, or they're going to have to get these CBDs in so freaking quick. It's not even funny. I wanted to show you guys something here real quick before I keep going. I want you guys to listen to the stupidest fucking person alive. But listen to what she's saying here real quick, and then I'll keep going.
Debt from 32 to 50 trillion dollars. Are you concerned who's going to buy that debt? And also at what rate they'll expect to be compensated for buying riskier and riskier debt. Are you concerned about that?
Well, if the real net interest cost of the debt remains low relative to GDP, and we're on a sustainable fiscal.
Well, we're not on a sustainable path. You're going to drive the debt from somewhere around.
And this is my point. The politicians right now, they're doing what they're paid to do. They don't give a fuck. They're going to keep on passing laws. The problem is still getting worse. It's getting worse. More and more is getting funneled. And now you're seeing more and more banks get exposed. And what's happening, once a Ponzi scheme gets exposed, it's just all downhill from there. You have now UBS. They ended up getting $100 billion bailout still through the government. But then they posted today, oh, we didn't do it. Don't worry about it. But they ended up getting it through another party. So it's all just show and tell, but in the end of the day, it's hundreds of billions of dollars being thrown into a bad bank just to bail out bad investments. Now, I want you guys to look at this and think about what's going on here. You have 728 people that now have more wealth than half of American households. They control your entire government, and this is what I've been showing you guys forever with this dark money. They control everything. And that this is right here. This doesn't even count dark money. And this is where everybody goes, where does, how do these guys go in office and they only get, they only have $2 million and suddenly they have 50 million out of it. But we only see, paid, this is only paid speeches, paid things that we see. Campaign, that funding, you don't see that number. And that's where the other 36 million comes into play. All of these places. Each one of these government officials is beyond bought and fucking paid for. And this is why these guys can get away with all of this bullshit. Because right now what's happening is we have two court systems in the United States. They go through FINRA. And what does FINRA do? We go through all the legal court systems. We get smashed out. What do these guys do? They go through FINRA and they sign acceptance, waiver, and consent. And they continuously break the law. And all you see are the same repeating people over and over. It's the top banks, the top banks, the top banks. And people are starting to figure this out. Give me 1 second here. I'm trying to find something quick. UBS. Quick thing here on UBS. UBS had 73,000 naked short sales. These are securities sold it did not have, borrowed or arranged to borrow. FINRA said UBS has agreed to settle the charges without admitting or denying them. And this is what I show you guys all the time. In the United States, unless this acceptance, waiver, and consent is abolished, I don't know what is going to make this stop in the stock market. They're going to switch. You have Gary Gensler coming up. Well, we're going to switch to the auction and blah, 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 blah. And yeah, it'll end payment for order flow. None of these market makers want it because, yeah, it'll make their lives harder. But at the same time, you still know the same top people are going to be able to dominate the auction houses. And they're going to do nefarious stuff. And all these things, we'll get into that in a minute, and I want to show you guys some things here in a minute, but these banks are so fucked, and this is why I'm trying to get everybody to look at what is happening with these banks. Get the fuck out of them. All of them. All the big ones, everything. It doesn't matter. You cannot sit here and keep telling the world that you're going to continuously raise the debt ceiling. Yeah, we'll go to 50 trillion. If you raise the debt ceiling and it goes up to 50 trillion, people are already backing away now because they're looking at the United States saying, hey, if they're going to continue on this course of corruption, and it keeps saying, we're going to keep borrowing from our own people. They're already at 22 trillion to us. And they have no plans to ever pay this back. They're just going to keep raising it and printing and raising rates. And now more people are going to have to get higher and higher rates because it becomes less and less attractive debt to buy. It's just a downward spiral. This why do I bring that up? Because if you take a second here and you look at what is going on in the Bank of Japan, and this is what I told you guys was either this would be the number 4 thing. This could be the bomb over here at the Bank of Japan because they have over 1 quadrillion financed through the derivatives market out to people. And if that goes down and that defaults, that's a bomb that nobody will be able to stop. They're so bad right now. Their situation is so bad right now. The Bank of Japan now owns 70% of all outstanding 5-year and more than 80% of all outstanding 10 years government bonds. They're buying their own bonds because nobody wants them to try to bail out. I mean, they're basically printing to buy their old debt, and then they're paying themselves a rate to hold on to that debt because nobody will buy them. Now, what that's doing is making that so unattractive that they're going to have to give people such rate that they will never be able to do this or get ahead. This is over. They're going to have to continuously raise rates. Now, what is happening in the United States? I told you guys, there's 2 ways to conquer and enslave a nation. You have 728 billionaires that have more wealth than half of American households. What are they doing? Millennials have increased their debt from 2019 by 27%, up to $4 trillion in debt. Think of that. If you read this right here, this is why I was trying to post all these things kind of in order, because it all tells a story in a row. An astonishing 383.61 trillion in interest rate derivatives traded in the month of May. 128 trillion over prior months, an all-time new high. Now, what this tells me is they're expecting more interest rates. It's going to keep going. They keep telling you, I don't expect it. I don't expect it. But then in the background, they all expect it. Now, what they're trying to do is protect themselves from more unrealized losses in those bonds. And this is what I'm saying. There's nothing these guys can do. They continuously try to throw it through swaps, create a new swap, protect it here, protect it there. But in the end of the day, it's not going to get protected the way that they think when the people protecting it are also over leveraged and going down because they need that same collateral. Now, what is happening in the United States, before I get to that, or that, 1 second here. Now, if you look in the United States, the largest decline in bank lending on record, what is happening? Rates are going up, These guys are losing on everything. I was telling everybody for a long time about the housing market crash. There's no choice but for that to happen. If you come over here and look, U.S. banks lost money for mortgages they financed last year for the first time in history. 1 second, where the heck? I always have so many tabs. Damn it, I didn't put them in the right order. Sorry. Banks now also for the first time in history are losing money on every single new mortgage that they're opening. Hold on. I like to put too much shit out in a day. Okay, let's take a quick stop real quick. This guy right here is a clown. Oh, man. I can't remember this dude's name. Hold on, somebody tagged him. I know somebody tagged him. This dude works for, like, Fox Business. Someone in the chat knows this guy. This dude's been going around in Twitter space calls saying he's going to write an article about how we're the worst people in the world, and he's sitting there DMing and threatening people. So I had to let the world know this dude's a really good gold miner, and if they're hiring, dude, I'm already filling out an application for this dude. Oh, man, this guy's a clown. Somebody knows this dude's name in the chat. Please write it so I can go ahead and show you guys this dude. But back to what we were saying. So banks are now losing. If I don't see it, whatever. I'm just going to... No. Here you go. Housing is so unaffordable that banks are losing money for each mortgage they finance for the first time ever. On top of that, you saw that they're losing money on houses they financed last year. The lending is going down drastically. It's at an all-time low. It's going to get harder and harder and harder for people to get houses. Their butts are gonna get tighter and tighter and tighter. They're gonna give out less and less and less home loans. You're already seeing mortgage units drastically close in all of these major banks. The housing market has nowhere to go but down. It has no choice. On top of that, what are you seeing? And this leads into the housing market as well. U.S. bank deposits fall nearly $65 billion last week. This is the 10th consecutive week that they have dropped. Top U.S. banks to reveal $521 billion deposits dropped, most in a decade. People are getting away from them. They're getting into commodities, land, assets. Slow bank run is happening. Total deposit outflow from U.S. bank sector is now more than $900 billion since March of 2002. Biggest outflow on record. People are waking the fuck up to the bank's Ponzi scheme. I'm going to take your money. I have reserve fractional banking, and I can sit there and go ahead and just keep a little of your money and use the rest as my shit, and I'll rehypothecate it to hell. I'll open up unlimited bad bets, unlimited contracts every other day, every other 5-6 years. What are you saying? A bank default because of they need hundreds. I mean, think about this. They needed $100 billion bailout for Credit Suisse for UBS. Think about that. How the fuck are these banks allowed to get that over leveraged? I mean, no business in the world can go, I'll stay open and I'll be, I'll be over leveraged. A couple $1 billion, no fucking big deal. No, you would have been closed long before this. Hundreds of billions. I show you guys the total in the derivatives market. The total in the derivatives market is 4 quadrillion. Say that again. 4 quadrillion. That's 100 trillion or 1,000 trillion. Now come look at this quick. God, I get all jacked up right now because I know this shit's going down. There's nothing these pieces of shit can do.
On top of that, you got the real estate, dude. There's so much debt coming in 2025. That's in a year and a half. And dude, like I said, the housing market, I think it's already going to crash before that. Oh, before I get to that. An off topic here. Banks. They're now selling mortgage-backed securities. They dumped $110 billion in there. They're getting rid of the bonds. This is my point. Everybody's leaving these banks, and this is what I've been saying forever. Bank run these fuckers. Bank run these fuckers. Bank run these fuckers into the ground. They'll have no choice but to start selling assets. And once these fuckers start selling assets, game over. Once these guys stop lending, once these guys look over to these guys in ISDA and all this illegal shit on the other side, and they go, dude, we can't keep doing it. We're getting fucked deep. We are losing money. Like I said, it's getting to the point where these over-leveraged banks are going to continuously get exposed. The 9-month contracts are coming. They're going to need to be renewals that cannot be covered, and there's going to be more hits and hits and hits on these banks. Like I said, I'm jacked. This is what we need to see. These banks getting fucked. This is what I've wanted to see forever. More people getting out of these. I'm going to let Murphy in here for 1 second. This is going to keep making that noise. You can come in here for a minute, baby. If you lay down, sit on the puppy bed. Sit on the puppy's bed. Just relax. Don't keep barking through the door. When the banks cannot sit there and keep on giving these guys illegal shit, this is what I've been waiting for right here. I'm jacked. I'm fucking jacked. And on top of that, it's like, so we're just going to read this right now. Again, always like we were saying, it's always the same bad actors. Once again, JP Morgan. These guys are doing this for 12 years. And this is my point. In our court system, you are spoofing the market for 12 fucking years? What? We would be in prison. But what they're doing is they're going to go over and this is what's going to happen. These guys are going to end up maybe they'll probably go to jail, but what's going to happen, they'll get the special treatment just like the dude in 2008. At most, they're going to get 2 years, maybe 3, but they'll get out in 16 to 18 months with good behavior. Little slap on the wrist still. And that's the problem. These guys can continuously come on over and say, hey, Janet Yellen, let me go ahead and pay you for a fucking... Why in the living fuck does Janet Yellen need to go to Citadel to give a paid speech? The fuck she need to tell the Citadel employees, I'm gonna come inspire you. For what? You're 1,000 years old. You don't know where you are. Go into a retirement home. I need a $2 million speech. We know you do, bitch. That's why you're a piece of shit. God, these fucking people. And this nose picker here. I'm gonna write an article on the 8th and just say you're the shittiest fuck ever. And my best friend's Charles Gasparino. Gasparino always says he's gonna hit people, and I'm like, dude, do you bring a stepping stool along? How are you gonna hit somebody? You're not tall enough, buddy. Gotta jump up and swing. And then always, look at me. I'm doing pull-ups on a fucking thing from an article from 12 years ago. Good job, dude. I'm glad 12 years ago you could do a fucking pull-up. Fucking Charles. I love these guys, dude. Oh, we're gonna get him. We're gonna get him. Listen to this shit.
You're gonna get a stock market cover of the shorts, the gloom, the caution that's out there. Where is that throw in the towel move?
Even these guys are saying you're going to see the squeeze in the stocks at some point. You have to. It has to fucking break. There's nothing these guys can do. They can't just sit there and hold for fucking ever because we're not going anywhere. We just keep buying more and holding it. Why the fuck would we not? We know what the hell we have. I said, they're fucked, dude. They're super fucked. You're going to continuously see this. Sorry. Stick it up your ass shorts. Now, this is something I want people to see. I'm going to show people this. I want people to read this one. All right. Send this up here quick. Pop it down. Show you the article quick where we're at. We're going to go down. So what you're going to do to read some of these things about the squeezes. This is talking about the FX market. And remember, I showed you guys there is 80 trillion in hidden FX market. Now, what this is it's basically an off-balance exchange. So people use different currencies and then they'll end up, having to trade it into the dollar. Well, the problem is it's all off balanced. And when they do the exchange and all this stuff, the rates, they don't know who the hell owes money. They just know 80 trillion is owed to this off balance exchange. What the fuck? Hey, that's a problem right there. So if you come down here, it talks about basically they're coming over here and everyone's just stealing shit up crazy. 80 trillion worth. When dollar lenders step back from the FX swap market, the squeeze follows immediately in 2020. Like I was telling you guys, it's all about getting them the fuck out of this is the market, out of this swaps, out of this bullshit. Like I said, I don't give a shit how many, oh man, we got interest payment swaps. Stick your interest payment swaps up your ass, dude. I don't give a fuck. Your unrealized losses are still gonna keep jumping and jumping and jumping. These banks are so ridiculously stupid. And the problem is, like I said, you have 728 fucking people. 728 people should not own. Read this sentence. The richest 1% grab nearly 2/3 of all new wealth, worth 42 trillion created since 2020. What? Oh yeah, I know. I saw that rumor, FTX, dude. Like I said, that shit's just, dude. No, they really are, dude. FTX, the new guy, he really wanted to fucking come back, dude. Dude's on some super high drugs. But this is the thing, man. Like I said, it's the same banks, they're going to have over 300 fines by the end of the year. These guys, Goldman Sachs, read this. Goldman Sachs fined for mismarking 60 million short sales as longs. They're going to pay a 3 million fine for it. This was 7 days ago. 60 million short sales were marked as long and you're going to make them pay $3 million? Okay. Dude, this kid's a fucking... This is the funniest video ever. If you guys want to laugh, dude, Google, is this real life? This dude comes up every time. This kid is fucking hilarious. But look at this shit. And this is also goes right into my point. Robinhood. For all those glitches and all that bullshit Robinhood and all the removals and shit, they ended up getting fined $10 million fucking dollars, right? $10 million. Now read this. We're gonna all read this together. This is fucking hilarious. God. State security regulators to protect investors and make sure that they are treated fairly by financial service firms. They also noted they found no evidence of willful or fraudulent conduct by Robinhood, and they investigated fully. It was glitches. It was all glitches, you guys. It was just glitches. No big deal. It was just glitches. It was coding error. No, it wasn't anybody did nothing wrong. It was just coding error. So we're just gonna charge him $10 million. No big deal. Ken Griffin gave him, a $2.2 billion bribe. But what we'll do is $10 million and say there was nothing wrong. Nothing wrong here. We're here to protect them. We protect investors. We make sure that they're treated fairly. Is this real life? They investigated, dude. Now, they'll sit there and keep raising the debt on us. They're going to pop that shit to 50 trillion. And then what they're going to do is they're going to take 80 billion and they're going to throw it over to the IRS. And they're going to hire 30,000 new staff. So they're going to make sure you gave your taxes for sure. Oh my god, dude. This shit is just getting nuts. But like I said, it's to this point where there's nothing they can do. Now watch this. Kept on telling you guys, they're going to want to make CBDCs and they're going to want to control your spending. They're going to want to have say on what they can do. The European Central Bank president reveals plans to launch a digital euro, and there will be control over payments and types. Not going to show you the whole 3-minute fucking clip. You can Google this little thing if you want to watch it. But they're going to control your payments with CBDCs exactly like I told you guys. And then they're going to make their own called wholesale CBDCs. And they're going to use those to go ahead and continuously cheat and lie and steal billions, but never need to ask bailouts. They'll just make more CBDCs. Baby, you're okay. Go see Mama. Mommy got a treat. Go get your bone. Go get your bone. We'll get to AMC here in a second. But this is my point. The United States cannot literally sit there, bail out these banks who are losing all of their fucking collateral, man. All of their collateral. People are figuring it out. That's what I'm saying, you guys. Just keep showing everybody you know the Ponzi scheme that is the fucking banks. Get them out of JP Morgan and Raper fucking CEO. Get them out of there, dude. Get them out of this shit. Get the fuck out of this criminal organization shit. It's got to go. We have to get the fuck out. Now, what is this? Was this the subpoena one or was this one? This is just more fraudulent over SVB failure. And like I said right away in the beginning, ends up having the big shooters went ahead, called up all their investors, said, hey, we need a bank run, so everybody leaves these small banks. And guess what? I was right. Here you go. The Zach banks, they're the culprits that had all of this happen. Hey, we'll get our top investors the fuck out of there. Tell them to come on over here. Give them shit that they couldn't have. Hey, it's not safe, but we are. And then by doing this, causing a small domino, we can go ahead and put it on the media, which we fucking own. People will come over to our deposits because we need these deposits at this point because there's no fucking collateral anywhere. And now we can't even lend. Like I said, these banks are getting fucked. And now what you have, Texas has put a bill in the House and the Senate that they'll create a issued back. This is going to be a state issued back CBDC, and they're going to back it by Texas Gold. So now what are you going to have? You're going to have fucking states start making their own gold-backed fucking CBDCs? Now everybody can, all these states can make their own gold, their own money? Is this where we're going? Let me read some chat here quick. Man, bank deposits are safe. I don't believe bank deposits are safe at all. Maybe credit unions, because the thing here's why I preach credit unions. In these big banks, you can have these, if people are going to run and lose or leave them, it's going to be big investors. In a credit union, it's me, it's you, it's average workers. It's people that it's not like we have over 250,000. Our shit's all insured, and it's insured by a different insurance, not the FDIC, which is also maxed out. So why would we run away from a credit union when you already see it, the insurance is there, and none of us need to run out because none of us have over 250,000, so it's not a big deal. On top of that, you're going to get better interest rates. You're going to get better loans. Those will be the places that will be loaning out, because now you're already seeing the big banks are getting fucked, and they can't sit there and loan, and they're already lending less and less and less. And here's the problem. If your middle class doesn't have access to get these funds, what the hell's going to happen? No one can get loans. No one can get cars. No one can get houses. What's going to happen with colleges? Can people afford to get those? They're already predatory as hell. These banks might look over and go, fuck it. Said, I don't know. You're going down a path, a spiral, where you just cannot continuously blow these bubbles higher and higher and higher and higher. It's unfucking sustainable. It's not. I've been saying this in Discord channel. Man, that's I'm saying. Well, physical, that's the thing. It's commodities. That's why I keep saying gold. People are what's going on with gold, and this is the thing. Let's get right into this. I was gonna say this for later, but fuck it. Let's get into it. There it is. So, a lot of people sit there and they talk about BRICS. And they talk about all of these other countries stacking gold. And United States is fucked if they keep going the gold route, and there's no way, we could do anything about it if all these guys keep coming together, and then they go gold standard behind it. This is still up to date. The United States has so much gold in the reserves. If we wanted to do it, if it got to the point where they had to back it, we could. We could definitely go that route. They're not gonna, but we could go that route if we had government that cared about its people. We could go that route if we drained the swamp, got rid of all of this trash. We could go that route. Get it backed up, get dominance behind it, once again. But the problem is the corruption won't let that happen. Why? Well, number one, let's look over who does that hurt. It hurts their people who are paying them, the fucking banks. We just got done looking at JP Morgan's former precious metal desk is asking to not go to prison for spoofing the gold market and precious metal market for 12 fucking years. On top of that, you found out JP Morgan has a massive short position on gold. So if all of a sudden the United States goes to a gold standard, and all of a sudden the demand is super high now, all of these states are going to see, you have a couple people going gold CBDCs. You have people buying gold. You have BRICS trying to get gold, and gold demand is just flying up. That hurts the bankers and these giant short positions that they have. And on top of that, what's that do? That limits the amount of ink the feds can use to print. And they don't give a fuck. They're going to print it up. They don't give a shit. They're going to keep printing and keep printing and keep printing until people say, go fuck yourselves. And it's going to happen. It's just going to keep happening. Janet Yellen just told you that herself. They're going to keep smacking it up. They're going to keep saying we're only going to support big fucking banks and this and this and this. And eventually it's just going to burst because A, too many of us will figure it out. B, like I said, these derivatives, I've already shown you some of the smartest people in finance. Even Warren Buffett, what's he say? These derivatives are basically atom bombs. Atom bombs. Dude, they're in the quadrillions. When they explode, there is no stopping these. There's no containing this shit. Sorry, I got way too many tabs. Maybe we go into some AMC quick. Actually, I'm going to go over to here, and then we'll get into AMC. But like I said, with these lenders, they gotta walk away. They're walking away from. They gotta get away from these swaps. And like I said, you will see a squeeze. There's trillions and trillions in this. There's no fucking way. Now, on top of that, this is why I say family offices are going to be the trigger. And I want to show everybody what's going on with this. Everybody sits there and talks about the banks and all these people. These family offices are unregulated. They don't have to tell anybody their holdings. They don't have to do shit. The only way that these guys ever get caught is when basically all their shit gets so out of control, it just explodes. But what they do is they can literally sit there and artificially raise and suppress the price. And pretty much what this guy goes into, it talks about every single step of the way that I've been talking about. Through Archegos, through the swaps, going to the banks, doing sham resets, doing sham closeouts, using total swap returns. This guy's singing like a canary. Comes into here, just talks about them all as well. What they did is they had these guys do it through swaps. These swaps, basically, through this ability, through swaps, he was able to turn his portfolio from 1.5 billion and artificially inflate it to 35 billion. This is how these guys are getting away with past regulators through all of these things. And once one of their stocks through these total return swaps drops instead of raises, and they're unable to manipulate that price, that is when you see these family offices explode out of nowhere. And that's why I think at this point, with how bad the market's getting, with, like I said, these banks, these guys aren't going to be able to open these ISDA contracts because these guys still operate through ISDA contracts. This is when I feel like the pressure is going to finally start being put on these family offices. And this is when they're going to get exposed. And when they do, like I said, it's going to be so massive. Like I said, this all is in the derivatives market. And they can't contain this shit. And a lot of, like I said, these banks are selling off assets. Everything has no choice. You either need to give money to the middle class through a derivative, like I said, through a MOAS of some type, through the market, you have to pump it back up. Nobody can afford anything. And these people that are rich, almost all of them are running on credit, or they have all of it through their business. And guess what? If all their businesses are getting less revenue, they're hurting and hurting and hurting. All of these rich people cannot afford to keep opening up new contracts, and it's just a downward spiral again. Like I said, this is unsustainable. Yellen's on crack cocaine. We need to get these people out of here, dude. We really need to start getting these fucking pieces of shit out of here. Fucking is insane what we're allowing to fucking have happen in front of us, dude. It's just crazy. Alright. Now, let's go into the AMC, and I think we'll finish it off with AMC. I like it. I'll get the questions after that, and we'll finish it off. Let's go. Alright. So AMC is basically killing it right now. They're having an amazing quarter. Concessions are doing well. On top of that, they got the credit card. Popcorn's killing it. Mario's killing it. They have an insane, like I said, Q2 is going to be amazing. We thought that for a while. Next year is going to be even better. You have all of these companies now. Like I said, everything's going so amazing for AMC's future as a company. Now, one of the things, though, that is still happening with AMC is they still do not have a lot of money. They're still going to need to raise capital. Even with all these great news, a lot of people are like, why the hell do you still want to vote and all this stuff? Why do you still want to do the reverse split and do all these things when we're having a good month and everything's looking positive? Well, one, are we still going to burn money? Because it looks like we're still going to burn some cash. We do not have a lot in the reserve. I don't care what everybody wants to make people believe. There's about 800 million the last that I read. That is, if we're at the cash burn rate, yes, the credit cards are going to be massive. All of these revenue streams are great. But AMC is still going to need to raise capital. If this vote and the judge and says, oh, fuck all this, it doesn't happen, AMC is going to have to raise money until they can get, like I said, cash flow positive. Well, at that point, they still have this massive amount of debt. They need to pay it down. If you're shorts, you're still, like I said, you still need to get into this position where you're afraid of that company succeeding. Right now, they're looking at it like, all right, yes, they can have a great Q2, but if they're still burning money and don't have the ability to raise it, are they going to have a great Q3? Are they going to have a great Q4? Is it going to improve? Is it going to get better? These are all things people still need to talk about. With this reverse split, everybody sits there. The number one thing, all these synthetics and all this shit goes away. No, it does not. It is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. First of all, a broker gave it to you. There's an obligation there. That obligation is down. It's in your account. These don't just disappear. When the reverse split happens, everybody will get the number that they're supposed to have from the reverse split in their account. Top of it, it goes to an obligation warehouse. All of these people sit there and go to do the same thing. Well, all these companies, they use examples of companies that went to pink sheets, that went bankrupt. Yes, you're correct. That's why they don't need to cover those. That's why it all went that way, and that's why they disappeared. Because that's called winning for them. They can sell or box that thing once it hits pink sheets and make sure it never comes back. See Sears, see Toys R Us. Now, with the AMC, it's not going to go bankrupt from this process. So it's a completely different situation. It's not going to go to pink sheets. Those obligations will still be there. There will still be a record. It doesn't just disappear out of these guys' system in life, and all of a sudden you're going to go there because, like I said, somebody's going to notice in their account that suddenly X amount of shares are gone.
obligations don't just disappear. People aren't going to take losses like that. Now, on top of that, with this, the float will be lowered. A lot of people, the price, like I said, it could go up right before this. It's getting harder and harder and harder to short AMC. The cost of borrow is getting to the point where it's ridiculous. I don't even remember what it was today. It was like 700 or something. Let me look at this dong. And I don't have fucking Vortex. I mean, obviously, we all know this shit's not correct, but what the hell is the last? But it's okay. So you're seeing 979, 735. I mean, Webull was showing like 1,000 again. AMC's price, like I said, it's getting harder and harder to short. These guys are paying so much to short this stock because why? They're afraid that when this converts, AMC will be able to raise enough capital to now get to the point where they're like, all right, they can get cash flow positive. They can buy new revenue streams. And this is the thing. It's great to get credit cards. It's great to get, popcorn. He's talking about, the hell with those things. The charging stations, maybe he's, seeing what people wanted to do. I don't know about that. I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I haven't really, researched charging stations and if they're good returns or whatever. But if it is, sweet. Why the fuck not? If you think that that'll bring in people, maybe they'll come want to watch a movie instead of, walk around the mall. Those things take a while to charge. So you could bring in a whole new audience. I mean, there is benefits to these charging stations. But here's the thing. There's so many people that, like I said, if this thing converts over, it's 30, 40 bucks, 50 bucks. Say it's $50. He doesn't just need to suddenly go, all right, fuck it. We need to sell 100 million shares now at 50 bucks, pay the debt off in full, and everyone's, oh, fuck, everything's over. He can, there's so many different ways he can go about it. But he can, if he looks over and says, all right, by 2024, he could see us being Q1, cash flow positive. And he goes, I need to sell enough to get to where, all right, we can pay off enough debt at a great price. Maybe he pays down a shit ton of it. That would be amazing. But he can get it to where it's sustainable, to where he goes, all right, we can sell an X amount, again, become attractive to new investors. Again, get FOMO back. Everybody thinks instantly the shorts, oh man, if we do this conversion, the cost of borrow is going to it's going to go away. Why? The float's harder. Or the float's way smaller. Again, if we say no, you're going to have to sell ape, and you're going to sell ape, and there's going to be billions more ape out there. And the way it seems like I said, if he does it at that rate, God forbid he sells it to frickin' Antara again. That's what I'm saying. We got to get this company out from under these fucking lenders once and for all. Get this debt to a point where these guys are like, all right, they're cash flow positive. They can pay this debt off. They have all these shares at their disposal, a giant war chest. They have a red pill, so none of us can go over and do a hostile takeover because they can go ahead and issue more shares to prevent that. That is one of the reasons why he wanted that. There is so many benefits to this. It does not kill your short squeeze. In matter of fact, a lot of people will sit over and go, the short percentage drops. But once again, it's the value of the shorts that matter. The total value does not change that day. They might go from 10 short shares to 1, but to cover that 1 is going to be more expensive. On top of that, to open a new position is going to be more expensive. The cost of borrow should, like I said, all these shares are accounted for. It's not like suddenly, oh, this comes out, it's a new thing, nobody has any shares, it goes out in the market, now everybody can reshort. All these shares are, again, accounted for. I just sit here, and every time I sit there and look at this shit, it's like, guys, to get these shorts to cover, these guys are already in such hardship. Now all of a sudden you get AMC's debt manageable, maybe paid off, and then you get it to where they're cash flow positive in a couple months. Like I said, guys, this is all shit you want to have them cover. Otherwise, right now, they're looking over going, yes, maybe they can get cash flow positive Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 next year. But can they sustain that debt on top of it as well? Can they get to the point where they can pay it down enough where they don't need to dilute all of these things? Will people still stick around for years? There's always that. Like I said, there's so many question marks. If this goes no, like I said, it gets scary because you're going to dilute, and you're going to dilute at $1.10, 80 cents all over again. ape, you're going to be your money until you can get to cash flow positive. But like I said, everything's looking great to where AMC should be getting to be to the point of cash flow positive. But if you can get debt-free, cash flow positive, a lower float, become more attractive again, said this is all massive steps in the right direction. And that's the other thing. A will give the shorts a great deal. At that point, at that price from the reverse split, he can dilute it to us to get out from under the shorts, so he's not going to give them that deal. Here's the thing. Everybody is... Adam Aron's against us. The guy has 8.6 million shares. You think he wants the company to go under? I'm just going to lose 8.6 million shares. That could be worth a fuck ton of money. No, I'm just going to let it go. You know how much these guys would have to be paying him to fucking let go 8.6 million worth of shares of a company that could short squeeze? Mike, you have to be a little educated here to be in my channel. I'm gonna have to give you a little bootski. Adam Aron's not on our side. I'm not saying... Like I said, I told you guys exactly why Adam Aron's done what he's done. At any point, we could have left, and he would have had to, what? Rely on them again. He can't do anything through bonds, so what would he have to have done? Restructure debt with the banks. Problem is that the banks are the ones trying to fuck him, and until he can get out from under the banks, yes, he might have had to give them a couple deals on the side, because what do? Control all of his debt. And as you saw before, he got lenience dropped, so he could sell more shares to raise more capital, because he had to get their permission, because what happens when they own their debt, they set rules on what the company can and cannot do. Oh, so you mean if you get out from under those bonds and those specific rules, he has more power and more flexibility? Crazy. It's unbelievably crazy. People crack me up. No, he wants it. Adam Aron could have bankrupted this company right away. I've shown people plenty of times if he wanted this thing to go down, he never even needed to do those raises. He never even needed to do the bonds with Murdoch in the first place. Before we even got involved, he could have bankrupted the company. But instead, he went the other route to try and save it. And I don't think he tried to save it, and all of a sudden he was like, man, I bet in a year and a half from now, retail investors will jump in and try to save my company. No, a year before that, he tried to say, no, fuck it. We're going to go this other route, and I'm going to borrow from Murdoch, try and do a capital raise, get all these investors involved, and that's where we started. Like I said, has the guy done stupid shit? Yeah. He's done shit to piss me off? Yeah. But through all the shit everybody wants to say and talk about and how he helped them out and all this is fucked and blah, blah, blah. In the end of the day, AMC to this moment has the highest short interest it's ever had. And that's recorded. And that just came out today. All right. I gotta get going here though. It's already 10:30. I didn't realize it's this late. I gotta do something here in the morning. I gotta get up at like 4:30 here. I'm talking to Peter Hahn though. I'm hopefully we're gonna go live again on Saturday. I'm gonna try and go live again maybe Friday night before that. But thank you guys for listening. Have a good day. Appreciate it.